Okay, so today we're going to talk about an interesting event that took place in the 19th century called the Pastry War, also known as the Stupidest War. Yes, you heard it right, the Pastry War. It's a unique conflict and war that happened between France and Mexico in 1838 over a pastry shop. So you might be asking, what exactly is the Pastry War? Well, it all started when a French pastry chef known as Monsieur Remonta was running a bakery in Mexico City and was demanding compensation for his shop that was run down. But Mexico did not pay the compensation, probably because it was a crazy amount. He asked for 60,000 pesos when his shop was only valued at 1,000 pesos. And at this time, the typical daily wage was only 1 peso. Apparently, during a civil war in Mexico, his shop was destroyed by Mexican soldiers. Later, the pastry chef asked the King of France, Louis Philippe, to intervene and get him compensation. France, taking the matter very seriously, sent a fleet of warships to Mexico to force the Mexican government to pay for their damages. The French also demanded payment for some other debts owed to French citizens. Mexico, being a relatively weak and poor country at the time, was unable to pay the compensation demanded by France, so the French naval fleet bombarded the Mexican port city of Veracruz, causing significant damage to the city. Mexico, not willing to back down, also raised a flag of war against France. However, it soon became clear that they were no match for the French Navy, and after a few months, Mexico agreed to pay the compensation demanded by France. The Pastry War ended in 1839 with the signing of a peace treaty. France received a payment of 600,000 pesos from Mexico, and in return, they withdrew their naval fleet from Mexican waters. As you might have guessed, that made Mexico pretty broke, but guess what? France, on the other hand, got a lot of money. One lesser fact about the Pastry War is that it indirectly led to the construction of a famous Paris landmark, the Eiffel Tower. After the conflict, France decided to use the compensation money they received from Mexico to fund the construction of several public works projects, including the building of a new railway station in Paris. The station, named the Gare d'Orsay, was designed by architect Victor Laloux and opened in 1900. However, the station was only in use for a short period of time before it became too small for the modern trains of the time. In 1939, it was repurposed as a museum, the Musée d'Orsay, which houses an impressive collection of French art from the 19th and early 20th centuries. The Gare d'Orsay building remained a museum until 1977, when it was decided that it needed to be renovated and expanded as part of the renovation project. It was decided to build a new entrance and a viewing platform on top of the building. The architect for this new addition was Gustave Eiffel, who is also known for designing the Eiffel Tower. So indirectly, the compensation money that France received from Mexico for the Pastry War played a role in the construction of the Eiffel Tower, one of the most famous landmarks in the world. You might be thinking, why would France be mad over a bakery? Well, France was not necessarily mad about the pastry shop itself being burned down, but rather they saw it as a symbol of their citizens' property being damaged or destroyed in Mexico during the civil unrest at the time. The French government believed that it was their duty to protect the citizens and their property abroad. Further, the French were already frustrated with Mexico for not paying back debts that they owed to the French citizens. The pastry shop incident added insult to injury, and France saw it as an opportunity to demand payment for all the debts owed to their citizens and to flex their military might. It's worth noting that the Pastry War was not just about a single pastry shop, but rather a culmination of grievances that France had against Mexico. The pastry shop incident just happened to be the spark that ignited the conflict. After the Pastry War ended, France and Mexico eventually reconciled and resumed their diplomatic relations. The peace treaty that ended the war also contained provisions for future cooperation and collaboration between the two countries, including a commitment to negotiate a new trade agreement and to establish a French consulate in Mexico City. Over time, France and Mexico have developed a strong cultural and economic relationship, with France being a significant investor in Mexico and Mexican cuisine being popular in trade. In 2019, the two countries celebrated the 190th anniversary of diplomatic relations, and both countries continue to maintain cordial ties to this day. So there you have it, a brief overview of the Pastry War between France and Mexico. It may seem like a minor conflict, but it has significant implications for both countries and even played a role in the career of a future American president. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos about all these fascinating stuff.